All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
All right. Well, welcome. My name is Matt Hartz. I'm New Pioneer's General Manager. This is the 2021 annual meeting of the New Pioneer Food Co-op. This is our second, and I'm very optimistic this will be our last virtual only annual meeting. These are typical larger gatherings. We'll have a compelling speaker, conversation with other members, good food. I firmly believe that will be coming back to us this next year in some form, and I'm looking forward to that. Our annual report will be published on our website tomorrow, so that will be uploaded. Some impact data from the year will be there. There will also be we publish our income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow data, and that's available for members too. And Ramj Balakrishnan, who'll speak to that today, is available for any questions on that. The flow for today is we'll hear some remarks or thoughts from Jon Fogarty. Jon is our long-term vice president of the board, who's taking on the role of president. And we'll also hear some thoughts from Caitlin Slessor. She is leaving the board at the end of this year, and she has been our courageous president for these last few dynamic years. And she's done great, and we'll miss her, so we'll hear from her. I have a few thoughts to share. Then Ramj, our treasurer, will speak to his assessment on the co-op's finances. We have some time for any comments or questions. And of course, if you have anything that comes up after this meeting is over, you can reach out to any of us. And then at the end, Caitlin will read the certified election results. So I'll turn it over to you, Jon.
Thanks, Matt. So obviously it was another challenging year with COVID still a factor in our lives, but slowly things are getting back to normal. The co-op has turned a corner with Co-op Cart allowing us the ability to serve you in essence with a fourth store, and that's it's how we speak of it a lot these days. It is essentially our fourth store, and it certainly did more. It was more successful than that last year when we were dealing with constant lockdowns and social distancing. So very thankful we've had that, and we'll continue to have that service into the foreseeable future. The organization's working on returning to profitability, and also it's starting to look to the future and think about what ways we can better serve the community in the coming years. We've discussed some very exciting ideas, and I know management is working on a number of those ideas this year, and in anticipation of things largely getting back to normal. And so very excited to see what the next few years hold for us as we come out of this challenging phase for the organization. Of course, it's our 50th anniversary, and I remember working on our 25th anniversary celebration many years ago, and it's exciting to think about how the organization has grown and of course weathered crisis. We've had more challenges in our past than just COVID, and I'm proud to see the organization has made it through to a 50th anniversary. I do want to thank the staff who over the last last months, well over a year, have weathered some difficult working conditions. And I want to thank all who shop at the co-op and support this organization with your grocery dollars. Shopping at the co-op is the strongest form of support that we can lend to the organization and its staff. It's been said a million times before, but I think it bears repeating that no dollars, no mission, or no margin, no mission, as we say in the grocery business. So thank you all for supporting the organization. And I want to thank the staff for continuing to work under difficult circumstances. And again, very excited for what the future holds for the organization. Caitlin?
Yeah, thanks, John. To piggyback on what John just said, I think I would describe this last year as a year of regrouping and reframing. I think the first part of the year is what brought us the derecho in Cedar Rapids. So that really felt like a big gut punch, and had a large effect on our Cedar Rapids shoppers and members. But the second part of the year has brought us more of a return to normal day-to-day operations in the store, albeit still with a global pandemic in the background. I'd say we're continuing to deal with the ups and downs of what it means to be a retailer in the time of COVID and an employer in the time of COVID. And I think all of us and the staff and management team have all learned quite a lot from this time. But I think, one thing I've been proud of about the organization is I felt like even when we had lots of difficult things to weigh, I always am really proud of where we landed on our decision making when it came to the safety of our staff and the safety of our other members shopping. So just a thank you to the management team who was consistent and steady in our messaging and keeping everyone protected. This is my last annual meeting, so I'd like to thank everyone who took the time to attend today. I'm coming up on the end of my term as being a board member of the co-op, and so that'll mean I've been doing this for 6 years. I tell a lot of people in my life that I think I actually gained more from the board service than the co-op actually gained from me during this time. I've been really appreciative of the chance to learn the ins and outs of the grocery retail business. It's a fascinating business. And it's one that I think we all can go through our lives shopping and purchasing food all day and have no idea how the food gets there, who's producing it, how the numbers end up on the shelf tags, and what happens after you purchase that food. So I've just been really grateful to the way that my life's been enriched to learn all of that. I've learned how an organization has to juggle profitability while still staying true to its mission, and how sometimes those can be very difficult things to juggle. Of course, we learned how to respond to a global pandemic and what happens when a natural disaster hits one of your stores and knocks out electricity for multiple days. But I think most of all, what I learned is a lot about our members and their thoughts and their preferences. And I have to say, I just think it's really exciting to learn what an eclectic group of devoted members that we have at the co-op. And I've always felt very fortunate enough to be trusted to protect everyone's interests because they are quite varied. And I think that is what makes the co-op special. The variety of what people care about, I think it is fascinating and inspiring. And I think it's that variety that makes the co-op such a special place. And one that I really, really hope is around for generations, for my children and grandchildren and the people who come after me to enjoy. New Pie's been a part of my life since I started college at the University of Iowa in 1999, and I was a coffee barista. So I'm just grateful to have had this opportunity in the last better part of 6 years to serve in a leadership role for an organization that I care so much about. Not everyone's here that I've served on the board with, but the past and present board members have all been good friends, good people that I've been grateful to have met. And most of all, though, I think I have to thank Matt for his patience with me as I learned what I know are some very, very basic things about retail that he probably wished he didn't have to explain like I was in kindergarten. But that patience has been very much appreciated, Matt. So I'm happy to pass on the gavel to John, who I know will do an excellent job as the board chair. And I know that the board's going to be in very good hands with the board members who are being elected here today, combined with those of you who are serving out the rest of your terms and hopefully staying on for additional terms. And, I'm just excited to see what the next decade holds for what I think is the very best place in the corridor to purchase food. I think of all of my family's household expenses, besides maybe housing and childcare, we spend the most money on our food, and I can't imagine that I'm alone in that. So being able to divert that portion of my income to a place that I care a lot about, I think is really important to me, and I'm sure it's important to all of the other members. So thanks, Matt. Thanks, John. Thanks, Linda, Ramji, Jennifer, Amy, Christine, Ryan, all of you. It's been a great time getting to know all of you. So I'll stop talking and turn it over to the business.
Okay. This year, it is our 50th anniversary. The co-op was founded by 25 people who couldn't get the kind of food that they wanted here. And they would pool their cash at the time, take a pickup truck and drive it to another city to buy food, haul it back, and then divide it up. Shortly after that, the co-op moved into its first retail location, physical location, a little building on Bowery Street here in Iowa City that is still there. A number of years ago, I was looking at our archives and I was able to piece together New Pioneer's revenue by year going all the way back to its founding. And the co-op did $34,000 that first year in the Bowery location. It soon moved to the Vine building here in downtown Iowa City. Upstairs, everything went up and down by this chain freight elevator. It was successful. It moved to the current Van Buren location, and half of it shared it with the Salvation Army. Salvation Army moved out. The co-op took the entire building, grew there for many years, then opened a bakery location in Coralville, subsequently opened the Coralville store, subsequently opened a central bakery and kitchen in North Liberty. And then in 2014, we opened up our Cedar Rapids location too, which is actually New Pioneer's second store to operate in that market, the co-op having merged with the Good Foods Co-op, I believe it was called, in the 80s, operated a storefront for a couple of years and closed it down. So that's our second location there. And as John noted, our most recent store, it's on the internet. This last fiscal year, we did nearly $3 million in revenue from online grocery sales. That is more than 5 years ahead of where we thought that would be. We're just astonished to be at this point. I continue to get information from other food co-ops, and from what I've gathered, if New Pioneer isn't the top by percentage of revenue from e-commerce, we're near one of the very top ones in the country. So that's just a commendation to all of our staff that have worked on that, developed it, and continue to make it work every day. Our founders could not have envisioned something like that. When I think to when I first came to college, I had a friend and I heard how they would go to the computer lab here on campus. They would write their sister who lived in Australia and it would arrive instantly and didn't cost anything. That's the first I've heard of email. It was like magic. It was just so astonishing to me to hear of this thing, which just puzzled me. And I know that in 50 years, I can't even envision what things are going to look like then. We don't know what the co-op is going to look like. It'll be very operationally different, but our values will remain the same. Of that, I'm sure. A few years ago, we actually heard from there were 25 people that founded the co-op. 5 people have their names on the articles of incorporation that were submitted. One of them reached out to us a few years ago. He had moved away many, many years ago, is now retired, lives in Denver, and was amazed at what New Pioneer had morphed into from what he had seen in 1971. But he's very grateful for us being here, and he said something like, "Good job." So our job now is to take care of it for whomever is running it 50 years from now and ensure that it's still here. After I always have had, but after this past year and a half, I have an even deeper sense of gratitude for things that really matter in the world. I have gratitude for our community that has supported us the whole way through, gratitude for those people that had the vision to form the co-op and those who led it for decades to get us to this point, gratitude for our frontline staff. We were at one time an all volunteer organization. Now we're all paid staff. And the work of the organization wouldn't be possible without everyone 7 days a week on the ground at the locations. That's how it all happens. And when you see what the co-op did in its entire first year of operations at Bowery, New Pioneer does that probably by noon most weekdays. So we've grown far beyond where we were then. I do want to thank Julie Parisi. She served on our board of directors and departed earlier this year. So my appreciation for her. And I will say once again, great appreciation for Caitlin Slessor, our courageous board president and member of 6 years who's led us through a very dynamic 2 to 3 year period. So thank you to Caitlin. And Ramji, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Thank you, Matt. And I do want to join you in thanking Caitlin. I think she has done a terrific job. We overlapped for 3 years to date. And I think she has brought, a tremendous degree of professionalism and organization. And I thank you for that. And I thank you for your grocery dollars too, not to forget that. So my job as treasurer is to provide a brief overview of the financials. To give you a little bit of a background, the financials were really great. The last time I was on the board, which was from 2010 till 2016, I believe. And we were making a fair bit of money, and that is what allowed us to open the Cedar Rapids store. But right around that time is when Costco and Trader Joe's and other competition opened up in Iowa City, and our sales took a pretty dramatic downturn. And year over year, we were losing 10 and 15% in terms of sales growth. We were having a negative sales growth. And things looked pretty grim. And we have managed to kind of weather through that process. And I am happy to report that we are like a hair's breadth away, just literally almost nothing in sales away from having an accounting break even. We are cash flow positive in the sense that we are generating more cash than we throw off. But it is not enough to replenish all of our equipment and things like that, which is why the accounting numbers are not still positive, but we are getting there. And I'm very optimistic that the budget that the management has provided to us in the last board meeting, we are keeping a very close track on it, and we are scheduled to return to accounting profitability hopefully start of next year, Q3 and Q4 of this fiscal year. The big item that I did want to draw your attention to is the Paycheck Protection Program, which is the PPP enacted following the COVID pandemic. As an eligible organization, we applied for and received about $1.23 million towards helping us cover payroll expenses. And we spent every bit of that money only towards payroll. We did not do anything else, even though other expenditure categories were permitted expenses. We spent the entire amount on payroll, including $238,000 and change as bonuses that were paid out in April. We felt that our workforce has done something, they were really heroic in some sense in stepping forth and helping us weather this storm. And deserved, I thought, we thought, a measure of recognition. We had given a little bit of a bump in the hourly wage rate. This bonus was in addition to that. And the nice thing is that, as most of us know, the PPP is a forgiveness kind of a loan. So we applied to the federal government for this loan to be forgiven, and we were forgiven the entire amount. So the reason that we have a positive income of about $800,000 plus minus is because we recognize the entire forgiven amount as income. So that's really what allowed us to kind of pop up into the black this year. But this is, of course, not a repeating kind of an item. So that's basically what I wanted to say. Our cash position is pretty good. We have an excess of $1.5 million in the bank, which is more than what we need. We are, I think, in pretty good financial shape going into the new fiscal year. as long as sales continue to kind of trend upwards. And like John and Caitlin said earlier, the best thing that we can do is to support the co-op with our grocery dollars. Thank you. John, over to you.
We are ready for member comments and questions. Carol, you have anything for us? Not seeing anything from Carol at this point, so she does type something.
There's a
We can-
question.
Oh.
Oh.
I think she's at, will the co-op basically be doing home delivery anytime soon?
Yes, so right now we do have that service. Oh, you're asking for in the mail, Carol?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That is on our list of things to explore this coming year. So we have identified that for our plan, a ship to home service. If you're out of Iowa City, this would work for you. Ryan Hall, who leads our IT operations for us, is the one who'd be taking the lead on it. And we have that to explore at the back part of this fiscal year, but we have a number of other things that are calling our attention that are more pressing, but we are going to give that a serious look. So, oh, Ryan says we're decently close to going live.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I think that
So you've been running under the radar with that one, Ryan.
I have. So we've been working with one of our providers on doing something like this for some time now. We started the project in May. I believe that we should have it online by January.
Oh, Ramj, you're muted.
Do you also want to say a couple of words about opening up the catalog to the broader catalog base? Because I think it may be relevant to somebody like Carol.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
This was really to Matt. Remember we had talked about opening up the list of items that we can shop online to a broader catalog?
It's the Unify ship to home.
Yes, exactly. You want to
Yeah.
kind of say a couple of words about that maybe?
Yeah, these are one and the same. So this is going to be, you're going to be able to log on to our website, our e-commerce website, so Co-op Cart. You'll be able to put in an order for things that, so there are two situations. If you're outside of our delivery area, and if we don't carry this item in store, we'll be able to ship it directly from our wholesaler's warehouse directly to you for a minimal charge, which is a part of this program that we're implementing right now. So expect to see that by January. We're in, again, the final steps of getting this online. All right, it looks like Carol's got another question. I'll let you guys
I can take
take
that
that
one.
on.
So Carol asked if we still have a member owner volunteer program. We did retire that a number of years ago. We did use the benefit of some member labor in the stores in exchange for gift card credit. And a review of that determined that that wasn't consistent with current employment law. But we didn't want to lose the program if we could keep it in some dimension. And our legal counsel did let us know that we could use it for educational and outreach purposes. So when we've done outreach events, hopefully next year, if we have an in-person member meeting, we've been able to have members help us with those things. So education, outreach, member events are allowed. So when did you work in the store, Carol? So, okay. So we'll put you on the list.
Excellent. Well, Caitlin, you.
Yeah. I've got the election results.
You do. Let's hear it.
All right. So we had 4 open spots. This year was kind of an unusual year. Some of our openings were because we had appointed people to serve out terms for people that resigned early. A couple of them were just for regular old openings. And then another was a board seat opened up by and run for by an existing board member. So with those 4 open seats, we had 4 candidates run, and unsurprisingly, those 4 were the ones that were elected. So we will be going into 2022 with Katie Brown, Data Judas O'Connell, Ramj, Tom Banta as our 4 board members. So congrats to all of you, and looking forward to meeting those who I have not. I don't think I've met Katie yet. So congrats, Ramj. All right, this is where we all applaud. Wonderful. Let's see, anything else as part of the election, Matt, that you want me to share?
That was it.
Okay.
No ballot initiatives to announce.
No ballot initiatives. I would say that that we did get a lot of positive feedback on our electronic balloting this year, and I think that's been the case in the past years. So I think people appreciated the ease with which you could vote online.
And I saw the overall vote count, and it was nearly double of what would be a typical election when we were doing paper-only ballots. So it's definitely increased access.
Couple questions on that. What just approximately how many votes did we have, or how many owners participating? And then I believe one of the seats is a partial term. So am I mistaken on that? And because the vote tally would affect who has the partial term, if that is in fact the case.
Yeah.
Filling Julie's seat.
Yeah. I'd have to go read the articles and bylaws.
Well,
so
then,
I can answer the question, John. I can answer the question of how many ballots were cast. It was
okay.
Over 1,500 ballots cast, and if I recall, I think the numbers I remember seeing in the past were between 700 and 900. So that's about right. It's about double what we used to get when we do it by paper.
Okay. Thank you.
I can add that that's pretty, last year we did a hybrid that was online and paper, and the voting counts were about the same. So I don't think we had a lot of drop off due to getting rid of paper, just as a heads up.
All right. Anything else? Any other business we want to go over?
No, I think we're at the end of our agenda.
Yeah.
That was the big finale. Well, thank you, Carol, for making the effort to get here to this meeting, and any of your friends that missed it, you can let them know there'll be a link on the website to view the recording. I guess motion to adjourn.
A motion.
I'll move.
Second? Just kidding. No. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye. Or
Aye.
do we have to do that? Wait a minute, this is not a board meeting, so
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter. Okay, even better. Cool. Thanks, everybody. Well, see you soon.
Bye.
I
Thank you.